Welcome to PLUSone, the series where each month I look at the free games on PlayStation Plus and help you decide if they're worth the download. After all, the games may be free, but your time is valuable. Happy New Year, everybody, and what better way to start the new year than with a new round of free PS Plus games? Well, besides my Game of the Year video, that would be a better way, but you'll have to wait just a few more days on that one. January 2020's free games are Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection, and Goat Simulator? Really? Okay, I guess. Is Sony kicking 2020 off with a bang or with a... And are these games worth both your time and the precious space on your hard drive? Let's find out, and for my sanity's sake, let's start with Uncharted. Frankly, I could have made this part of the video without even playing the games, and to some extent, I'm sure that many of you are the same way. Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection is the PS4 remaster of the first 3 Uncharted games, some of the best games released during the previous console generation. But therein lies the problem. These are some of the greatest games of the last console generation. And the Nathan Drake Collection has been out for over 4 years. It's been bundled with the PS4 like a dozen times, and the game is regularly on sale for as low as $10. I'd venture to say that most people that wanted to play these 3 games already have. I can see why some aren't happy that this was one of the free games this month. But with that said, we just got past the holidays, and there are certainly a lot of new PS4 owners out there. So for those of you that may have missed out, or maybe just got your PS4, or for those of you that played these games back on the PS3 but haven't tried the remasters, let's dive into what Uncharted is and why you should definitely give this collection a download. The Uncharted series are third-person action-adventure games that put you in the shoes of Nathan Drake, a treasure hunter who over the course of the series has found some of the most legendary fortunes, long thought to be lost to history, if not entirely the stuff of myth. Along with an evolving cast of allies, and while fighting a rotating group of foes, Drake travels the world seeking out these treasures, from the city of gold El Dorado to the lost city of Shambhala. Along the way, Drake will solve centuries-old puzzles that still somehow work, climb and usually accidentally destroy priceless architecture, show off his insane finger strength, and get into a lot of shootouts. The first comparison that comes to mind with this series tends to be Indiana Jones, and the quickest explanation for Uncharted is that it's Indiana Jones in video game form, an 8 to 10 hour roller coaster ride featuring some of the most exciting sequences we've ever seen in games. Uncharted is often credited as the catalyst behind the gaming industry's story innovations over the last 13 years. From the stronger focus on character-driven stories and stellar voiceover performances, to Naughty Dog's advancements in blending motion capture across both cutscene and gameplay animation, the Uncharted series, and 2 especially, raised the bar for gaming at the time. That means that you're in store for a trio of action-packed games that usually keep you on the edge of your seat for hours on end. And even better than that, each game has its own personality too. Where Uncharted 1 has a slightly slower, more adventurous vibe to it as we learn about these new characters, Uncharted 2 goes all in on previously unheard of action sequences, some of which still hold up today as some of the best I've ever seen. And then Uncharted 3... Uncharted 3 is fine, but the grind of developing these games back to back to back and having to ramp up the set pieces with each game clearly showed some wear on the team. 3 has a ton of awesome set pieces and some more great character development, but its pacing is kind of all over the place. Many story elements are dropped and forgotten about, it's just a more rushed experience. When I first got my PS3 in 2011 or so, I ended up marathoning all 3 games in the span of about a week. I just couldn't put them down. But for what it's worth, these games weren't without their problems back then, and thankfully the Nathan Drake Collection addresses most of these issues. First and foremost, the graphical bump completely refreshed each game and polished up the rust that was starting to show from age. All 3 games run at 60 frames per second now, with updated lighting, models, textures, just about everything has been touched up here. Moreover, the controls for all 3 games have been brought under one unified control scheme, instead of shifting slightly between games as Naughty Dog learned and improved. Because of this and some further tweaking, the gameplay feels tighter than ever. To complement these improvements for Uncharted veterans, and to make the series more accessible to newcomers, there are even 2 new difficulties. A super easy explorer difficulty, and a brutally hard mode called, Brutal, along with a speedrun mode. Altogether, the collection is far and away the definitive way to play this series, and now that a decade has passed, I think it's very much worth it to go back if you haven't replayed these games yet. There's a lot that I've forgotten about these games over the years. Some parts great, other parts admittedly not as great. And revisiting them yet again has reminded me just how fantastic this series consistently is in spite of those not so great parts. So it probably goes without saying that you should +1 these games to your collection no matter who you are. Well, unless you actually own the collection like I do, but even then, let this month be a reminder to give Uncharted another whirl. Newcomers absolutely must experience these games at least once to see what the hype is all about. And unless you've played these games on PS4 recently, there's something for everybody to come back to that will pleasantly surprise you. Just keep in mind that the one cut the Nathan Drake collection made was the multiplayer that was present in 2 and 3. You aren't really missing that much, I promise. If you really want Uncharted multiplayer, Uncharted 4 still has it, and that game's like $10 most of the time too. For that matter, so is Lost Legacy, the epilogue to the series that stars Uncharted 2's Chloe Frazer. Really, what I'm saying here is just play the entire series, it's all fantastic. Going back to this game though, for free you're getting up to 30 hours of high-octane action-adventure greatness, and all 3 games are only about 45 gigs put together too. All things considered, that's pretty low nowadays. And if you're a trophy hunter, these games even give you some fairly easy platinums, provided you can beat the game on the second hardest crushing difficulty at least. Considering the PS3 versions required you to beat the game once before unlocking crushing, and that 2 and 3 had now unobtainable multiplayer trophies, this is super welcome. It always felt weird beating these games completely and then getting only like 20% trophy completion back in the day. Anyway, I digress. The Nathan Drake collection is a fantastic remaster of a historic series of games. And the only reason you would have not to download and play them this month is if you already own the collection and you've played them recently. Otherwise, I can't recommend them enough. Okay, I've said all I can about Uncharted, let's tackle the elephant in the room. Goat Simulator is a game that I would venture to say that the vast majority of you will probably put half an hour into and then never touch again. And in all honesty, it's not worth much more than that in my eyes. Simply put, Goat Simulator is a meme game, and it's probably only free because Sony couldn't negotiate to put Untitled Goose Game on PS Plus yet. So, hey, why not give out another animal meme game for free? If you missed the YouTube craze over this game back in 2014 when it came out, Goat Simulator is a game where you play as a goat, surprise, and wreak havoc over an unsuspecting town with all sorts of wacky physics-based antics. Want to destroy a gas station? Just give it a kick and you'll go flying. Do you want to go into a house, kick everything, and then kidnap Carl? Just press square and your tongue will stick to him and drag him across the ground behind you. Want to kill Deadmau5? You can. It's in this game. That's the thing that exists. Goat Simulator is a game that's meant to be weird, chaotic, and stupid, and credit where it's due, it's certainly all 3 of those things. In the base game, there are 2 interconnected towns that you can explore, each with tons of hidden secrets, collectibles, and objectives. Really, if you find yourself surprisingly hooked on the simple gameplay loop of kick things and ragdoll yourself, you've got a decent amount of game here. There's even up to 4-player multiplayer if you and your friends have nothing better to do. But that gameplay loop for most of you will get old pretty quickly. I was getting bored after half an hour, and I explored most of both towns already. Wacky ragdoll physics have a pretty short shelf life, so yet again, I can definitely see why people aren't happy with this PS Plus choice either. But at the same time, I can see how for some it might be a relaxing way to kill time and crank out some objectives here and there, maybe after a long day of work or in school, but even as a casual unwind game, it's not gonna last all that long. By its nature as an intentionally bad game, it doesn't look all that great, and the world isn't super packed with people or objects. You'll more or less be moving from one area that has things in it across a pretty empty landscape to another area that has things in it, trying to maintain your combo by kicking the 1 or 2 pedestrians you may find along the way. Even for trophy hunters, this game might only take you an afternoon to platinum. There are also 4 DLC packs that can help extend your playtime, each priced at $5. These range from a zombie apocalypse to an MMO to a collaboration with the Payday series, because what won't the Payday series collaborate with? I can't recommend these one way or another because I don't own them, but if you really love Goat Simulator, I'm sure an extra $5 can't hurt. As it stands, do I recommend that you +1 this game to your collection? Not really, no. Like, obviously redeem it, it's free and it's only 3 gigs, so it wouldn't take up that much space if you do choose to download it, but there's just not enough here for me to recommend this game to most people. Odds are, if you watched videos of people playing it at any point over the last 6 years, or if you're watching this video right now, you'll have the same experience as if you played it right now. I suppose it could be a fun choice for parents at least. If you have younger kids, this game may as well be made for them. Otherwise though, unless you want a really easy platinum trophy to pad out your e-bragging, I would say you can pass on Goat Simulator. It's not exactly the strongest start of the year for PS Plus, and that's really weird to say when we got 3 critically acclaimed games lumped into this one month. Are you excited to play either of this month's games? Let me know by leaving a comment below, and while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed so you can keep up to date with every video that I post. In fact, later this week I'll be diving into my top games of 2019 and highlighting some games that you may have missed from last year, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. As always, until next time, stay golden.